Okay, welcome everyone to our Spotlight Success Stories series. Where we highlight thriving executive professionals who have navigated their career journeys with purpose and impact. Today I'm so excited to introduce my good friend Inder, a leader whose story of growth, resilience, and success is just truly inspiring. And we connected a couple of months ago, and I love her energy, and I wanted to kind of bring her on here. So thank you for joining us, Inder, and we'd love to know a little bit more about you.
Thank you for having me, Veena. It's a pleasure to be here. Just to let you know, and again, remind all the viewers again, my name is Inderpreet Kalra. My journey began in Mumbai, India, where I was born and brought up. And then my way through landed to Boston in 2008, where I did my MBA from Bentley University, Massachusetts. And then it's been a whole lot of series of 15 years trying to establish myself between States and the Europe and North America, which is Canada now. So it's been exciting. It's really been an exciting 14, 15 years.
That's amazing. I can see like the passion on your face and that exciting journey. So that's amazing. And let's start with your journey, right? So what pivotal moments shaped where you are today? Like, were there any defining experiences that led you to this point?
Yeah, so actually, before I go that, I think the initial point that I want to bring out up is um, as a child born and brought up in India and being the third kid, I am, or I was overprotected, very, pampered.
Mhm.
I didn't have to worry about decision making. They were kind of
Right.
already done.
Yeah.
And somebody said, go this way. So you decide to go that way. And then I think the point of shifting started when I moved to Boston, because
Right.
every little decision, whether it was buying bread to understanding creating your own timelines to managing your home to trying to find a job to
Right.
creating your new friends and family circle, your foster family who you could
Mhm.
spend time with, I think everything started to become very significant and important,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? And then after that, you realize you've graduated. Now you're welcome to the immigrant world. Now you have to go find jobs, and
Right.
so I think there have been many paths that have been like ups and downs,
Yeah.
but over a period of time, I just realized that it made me very resilient.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I've seen a shift in a spiritual journny as well,
Right.
which is more into alignment of myself and knowing who I am.
Right.
And once I know who I am, then I can go
Exactly.
and portray it in the world.
Yeah, that self-discovery journey, and I can relate. Even though I was born and raised here, my parents are immigrants, and I know they've told me about like the duality of the two. But then the
Mhm.
fact that you came here and did that spiritual journey, because I've been there too, and like a transformative journey. So I can
Mhm.
relate. And yes, that I can tell like how much you've gone through and that made you resilient and much stronger person. So you kind of make the decisions yourself and like trailblaze a path. So that's incredible and that's really inspiring. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I know every successful leader has, when it comes to resilience and strong, like the challenges, right? The ups and downs, right? So what obstacles have you had to overcome in your career and how did you navigate through them? Because I think with our audience, whether it's women and men, I think that's where the struggle is how to navigate those career transitions or like any kind of career when whether you're going like lateral up to your next career journey and how did you navigate that?
So, if I had to be authentic with your viewers and people who are watching you or hearing you or getting inspired, um, I would say the biggest challenge was of realizing my self worth
Right.
and knowing I'm enough and I
Yeah.
belong and I'm enough. And I think it's it's a thing we say every day to remind ourselves of how
Exactly.
powerful we are.
Right.
But at some point, we need to know that there is no hole and gap, and we really are whole and enough. And we're just now every day reminding ourselves that we're whole enough.
Right.
But the process of feeling whole enough, it actually took me 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
can
Because it's a journey where you don't do well at work and then either you're fired or they switch your
exactly.
project and then now it's an ego thing and you're like,
Right.
I'm not good enough. And you have all this competition in India where the whole world is telling you you're not good enough and
Right.
you start believing you're not good enough. But again, good enough or perfection is different for everybody.
Yeah.
I might be good at XYZ and somebody might be great at XYZ. So good enough is really not a comparison. Or
Right.
am I enough is not a comparison because you might be streak smart and really
Exactly.
kind and really something else which somebody else might not have. And you are whole and enough in who you are.
Right.
And to be a great leader, I think the
Right.
first thing comes with being able to communicate and being patient,
Yes.
but that starts with you first. If you're
Exactly.
not patient
Right.
with you and you can't communicate who you are, then it's harder to lead somebody or lead a
Exactly.
team or an
Right.
organization.
Yeah, I love what you said because like that's exactly what executive presence is. And what I tell my clients and everyone else is start loving yourself and know your unique value. Like if you compare with others, you kind of end up not in the right path, right? So know what you bring to the table. And everyone's unique in some way, right? You said like everyone is good enough. You probably just have to find the right company or the right people. And even me, like I was in the wrong environments and now I found the right people. I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, right? So I used to be like that too, but I can totally relate that it all starts with the self-worth, and especially as women, we tend to neglect our, self-care and self-worth. We don't focus on that. We just get straight to like all those titles, and that we do kind of neglect the fulfillment. So yes, that's a very important thing, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up. So that's amazing. But what are some things that you kind of had to go through to overcome the self-worth? Like, did you do like affirmations every day? Because even for me, like you said, it took 15 years. It took me 7 years. But on an everyday basis, I had to shift that mindset and, work on my limiting beliefs. So what were things that you had to do to
I
overcome?
would say many, right? But
Yeah.
I think it's a journey I take on every day. So my most recent has been I sit up, get grounded, do my meditation. It doesn't have to be time based, but just give gratitude and be present for this wonderful day
Right.
I'm living. That's
Hmm.
the first thing. I'm breathing. Great. I have
Exactly.
hands, limbs, body, fingers, everything. Great. I can do anything every day when I get up, right? I
Hmm.
can decide to make it my whole new career if I wanted to. I can,
Right.
whatever, right? So the opportunity of just having this bright new day and just being grateful for that is the
Exactly.
first thing I like to
Yeah.
do. And then second, I get up and I read some pages of a good book. Currently, I'm reading The Unmistakable Touch of Grace.
Nice.
It's a very powerful book. So that's what I'm doing as of now, like reading that book. Sort of few pages of that. So it gets me into the mindset. I
Yeah.
do a little prayer, just whatever works for you. If you want to have a conversation with God, that's fine too. I
Right.
just, is part of my religion, I like to get connected and grounded, go for a walk, do some exercise in the morning, so
Hmm.
it's getting me charged up. Yeah, so that's been now, but then previously I've done many courseworks, many like listen to Tony Robbins, done a lot of landmark work, landmark forum
Right.
work, done a lot of tantra yoga, a lot of chakra meditations, a lot of cleansing work.
Love that.
um, and I think everybody's soul journey is different, but the
Mhm.
more aligned we get to who we
Right.
are and where we want to go, the easier it becomes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because the more you're in duality, you're like, oh, am I this? Am I that? Am I that?
Exactly.
And I just wanted to introduce to you that maybe I'm also thinking to get into a healing practice or healing journey
Amazing.
for others.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully, like IT is great, business analysis, amazing. But
Mhm.
why not? Like, I have this talent that is calling
Mhm.
me for many, many years. And I feel like this is the year I also want to undertake that. So,
Yeah.
go for it. Go big, go home, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I did. I was in the IT and I went into the entrepreneurial journey. And yes, you definitely should go for it, the healing. And look how much you're bringing to the table. It's so powerful, you as a woman and that gift. And, everyone can be inspired by you. So I loved for you to kind of continue that as a healer and help everyone else and the next generation. So yeah, and doing all of these meditation practices really help. And the fact that you said gratitude. When you talked about the alignment, I'm still in that journey. Like at times I'm like out of alignment and I have to force myself. And I know in corporate world we have that masculine energy. Like we're always like trying to force things. And sometimes we feel like we're attached to an outcome, right? So especially when I talk to professionals, they're like, am I in the right place? Rather than think of them in the right place, they're like, did I get that title? Did I get the money? Like, I'm kind of the external validation, but they don't look inward, right? And that's the whole journey. And I think we have to remind the audience, a lot of women out there that to really set the foundation in place, right? And go inward. So I love what you're doing. And yeah, I just want you to continue because that energy, that presence of you is what really that people need as a leader. And some people are like, they want to get there, but they just don't know how, right? So that's what they want to try to figure out. And that's why they're here today to kind of have you as an inspiration. So thank you for sharing that. I hope people listen to this can kind of, use these techniques, right, over time. And it takes time. I did have one question on that when I talked to some people, especially women. They come to me saying that they don't have like time, the time management aspect of I don't have time for meditation or, reading a good book. I'm always on my calendar or in meetings. So what advice would you give for that aspect of
Beautiful. The only aspect I wanted to say is meditation is not necessarily about sitting down and breathing. It's being about being present with
present?
what you're going through. So if you're busy and you're like, I'm so busy, I'm overwhelmed, just acknowledging you're overwhelmed or you're overwhelmed and deep breathing is
Hmm.
also meditation because
Yeah,
you break in that pattern and you're like, I'm present. I got it.
exactly.
That's all you need actually.
Right.
We're in the morning doing meditation because we're trying to quieten the mind, or actually in the morning we're trying to enjoy the mind, I should say, because
Hmm.
it's already awakened and it's quieted and it's rested.
Right.
So we are trying to enjoy that quiet moment before we start the day when
Right.
we're sitting in
Exactly.
meditation in morning. But during the day, actually the practice is to 24 by 7 meditate,
Hmm.
which means you're trying to break the pattern of getting lost and not being
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
So yeah, you meditate, in your shower, in while cooking, while anything, because you're just being present while cooking, and you're sharing and pouring the love in the food you
Exactly.
put. So it's whatever you're doing, just be present in that and feel that love and energy. That's all you got to do, right?
Right.
Just be in the moment.
And then you,
And the how I really wanted to mention, we wonder too much about how this would happen, how would I create the time. I think if you put the intent right, the how will show up automatically. If you
hmm,
say, hey, I just want to be present, it won't take a spare of a minute to be present. You can be present now, right? The how will start resolving for you.
exactly.
So the more we are in the how, the more it creates agony, pain, and like, oh
Hmm,
my God, we're in our head.
hmm,
But the minute we move from here and we bring it to alignment here, we're
hmm.
just present. So we're always present, and things are showing up, but we're not
Right.
present. So we're missing things along the way, actually.
Right. Exactly. And I can relate because I was in my head, right? And I had to like go into the present and feel, and whatever you're saying is right. So I think this is a new concept for a lot of women in corporate. It's because they're always in their head and thinking, and that's just what it is on an everyday basis. But taking the time, at least 5 minutes, to just, like you said, be present. So if they're in a meeting, like you're just present, like how can I showcase my value, or how can I network with this person, or just say good morning to my, coworker, right? Just sharing the love, right? And that
Yeah.
itself is enough, right? That you don't need to do anything. And a lot of people are like, what do I need to do? I can't make time for this. So, like you said, just being present and detaching from the outcome, I think, is a very key thing that, I wanted to talk about, like you said, because it's always when and how, and we're so stuck on that. So we need to break the pattern. And it's a practice, it takes time. So it's a practice, and the fact that you said that is something new, but I want people to understand that. So yes, it's a very important
So
thing.
for people in leadership or like big positions, or who want to
Yeah.
go and really in their professional life, I would say really excel. My only two key things would be present.
Mhm.
So when you're communicating with somebody, just be present to that communication, not
Yeah,
what you're going to answer, because then you're creating space for that person.
exactly.
And the more space you create, people feel it, and you just connect with them in a
Right.
very subtle, different way that you wouldn't have when you were always here and trying to think what's your next question to ask.
Right.
So if you're
Right.
present in communication, people feel that presence.
Mhm.
And just saying a kind word to
Yeah.
somebody out of generosity and genuineness goes a
Yeah.
long way. That's
Yeah.
that's all you need to build a connection, and you see how things will start getting done for you.
Exactly. And then that starts with, as a leader, the vulnerability. And like you said, making them feel seen and heard. Like, even if you're talking to a team member, what is important? Like building that trust. And that's
Mhm.
what makes you that impact. And the impact turns into growth. And that's where like the promotion happens. But it all starts within and being present. And like you said, showing up as your best self is that just kind of communicating and being like creating that safe space. That's what's very important for leadership. So great point, and I wanted to point that out. So thank you so much for this. So I wanted to just kind of go into, I think this goes into like you talked about, what does success mean to you or thriving? Like how has your definition of success evolved over time for you?
Yeah, I definitely started with having a title, having the money,
Right.
trying to see the world. I mean, trying to showcase to the world that I was good enough.
Yeah.
And then I realized, what does success mean to me? It really means that if I can have a good night's sleep, I can be happy, I can exercise, and I can make a difference in the world, I'm
Mhm.
successful.
Yeah.
Like I really am. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
if I can cover my needs, I'm good. If all my needs are met, all my luxuries or whatever I need to do is met, I'm abundant,
Right.
radiant, exercise, grateful, I have gratitude, I'm blissful, I sleep well, everything good, I'm successful. But the main thing is for me to be a contributor in the world.
Exactly.
That what defines me is like,
Right.
okay, now I'm achieving the mark. Like now I've made a
Right.
difference in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think in the beginning, like especially in executives too, like they start out with that in their minds, like I want that fulfillment. And then it always comes back to like, am I financially independent? Or abundance means like money, but it really means like how happy are you internally, that
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are just like getting that confused, right? And everyone has a different definition, but over time, like you said, just making a positive impact for yourself, right? The next generation. What is that? What
Yep.
is your legacy? Right? How
Yep.
do you want to influence the world? What is that legacy? And I think this
That's right.
comes a little bit later on in the VP, senior VP aspects of things. But I think people just get so caught up because I think it's external validation, right? They don't look at internal. When you love yourself too much and you have high self-worth, you don't need external. You're like, this is who I am. I'm here to do this unique value I have to bring to the table. And even in a company, right? You're impacting the organization's, KPIs and revenue in that aspect. So, excellent point. That's what impact means. So to go into
In
deep,
those companies, they are actually impacting a lot of stakeholders, a lot of people,
right?
a lot of employees. So you don't have to quit your job to make an impact. You
Exactly.
can make a big impact where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And impact comes from like people think it's executives like numbers or tasks. It always comes back to that. But like you said, it's just your energy, it's your presence and how you show up. That itself is an impact for the company, right? As a
Mm-hmm.
leader. So it doesn't have to be like technical and nitty-gritty details. Just show up and be a visionary leader, be a transformative leader in
Mm-hmm.
that aspect. So I kind of wanted to bring that out, but that's great. And I'm happy because I know I'm also doing the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's corporate or an entrepreneur. Like I have a thriving business where I'm happy. I don't work too much, but I make so much impact at the same time. So, and I want more women to understand this and, bring out their best gifts out there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's corporate or entrepreneurship, everything is the same. But everyone has no comparison of what success is. Everyone
Right.
has to live on their terms, right? So
Mm-hmm.
redefine career and success on your terms. And that's the message I want to get out there. So that's amazing. And you talked about purpose and values. So how do you align your work with your personal values and purpose right now?
So I think for me, I'm creating this vision of working with teens, adults, and children in the space of healing.
Mhm.
So as I'm doing the IT work, and I'm also learning about healing, I make sure I take that presence to work,
Right.
right? I don't have to be a healer here and not be a healer at work. Because
Mhm.
when there are stressful situations, what do? You calm down and you just spread your light, spread your calmness, spread your energy wherever you are so that the situation can work for everybody's benefit.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how I align. Yes, I want to go there and I want to go probably full time if I could.
Hmm.
But while I'm going on that journey, whatever I learn, I make sure I apply to where I'm at so
Right.
that now I can influence the place I'm at right now. I don't have to wait for
Yeah.
that journey, you
Yeah, I
know?
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Because I think a lot of people think that, okay, I have to like do something to influence it and they work hard but like you said, you can just bring that healing energy and foster that environment now itself, right? And I know you're bringing that in right now, which is great. So within this, conversation and what's not even like 10 minutes yet. So yeah, like you said, I think we don't have to do it, just be. Right? Just be in
Just be.
that presence. And that's what makes the influence and impact. So I love how that you're aligning it to your purpose and you really truly know your purpose and your soul mission. And that will take you far. So
Mhm.
that's incredible, like, because I think, I can relate as well. Like I have that purpose and my calling, and I just feel truly fulfilled. And that's why we connected, right? There's a reason
Beautiful.
why we connected. So in
Right.
that energy and purpose. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have opportunities coming up for you automatically. You don't have to think about the how and the when. So that being said, so if, many professionals want to be leaders, but also this is for executives who want to go to the next level, but what advice would you give to other women and men too, right? If they want to thrive in leadership. A lot of them are kind of in the survival aspect, but they want to thrive and they want to make it with ease and confidence. Like what advice would you give?
So to me, a strong leader is a person who can first learn how to take a back seat. I think
Mhm.
most of the leaders want to lead and have people follow, which is great.
Right.
But to know where people want to go and where they want, like where they're headed and where to guide them to, the leader needs to sit back and see what's happening. I think more
Mhm.
what I see is people, everybody wants to be a leader and lead the organization, but they don't know what's going on here.
Right.
To know
Right.
what's going on here in the story with their employees, with their stakeholders, with everything, they got to sit back and observe first.
Exactly. Yeah.
So once you observe what's going on, then you can say, okay, how can I be a superb leader by either guiding, showing, or showcasing, or leading by example, either one of the two, whatever is needed. But I think we're also caught up in the race
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
title and showcasing how good I am,
Right.
that we forget why we are a leader in the first place and what we are trying to achieve
Exactly.
by
Exactly.
leading, right? So you could have a flock to follow, so you make sure leader XYZ that you guide them right. That's
Yeah.
your duty as a leader.
Right.
So it
Exactly.
comes with a big responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think a lot of people, like you said, are caught up in where they're going, but not who they're being. And like the, there's always an identity, right? Like personal identity, professional identity. So it's very important for the leader to embody that. Like start,
Mhm.
changing their habits, the way they think. It comes down to mindset and embodying that new identity and be like, I need to like observe around me. I need to look at the bigger picture. I need to know my vision before I know where I'm going. And then that team follows, right? Like,
That's right.
people follow. So I think are stuck on how they should follow first, but focus inward first, the foundation of where am I going? How can I
Mhm.
embody that identity? And all starts with that. So,
And you brought up a great point, because I think it's a identity crisis we are in, and we get
right.
attached to the identity
Yeah.
versus what we're trying to do being in that role.
Right.
We are not that role. We are who we are. We just serve in that role, no
Right.
matter whether it's leadership or XYZ role.
Yeah.
We just serve in that role. We are not that role, right? So
Exactly.
knowing that
Yeah.
difference, I think helps people ground and say, okay, I just do that job. I'm not that
Exactly.
job,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, because some people are just so involved. Like, I need to do this. I have that VP role, and I have to show that recognition. And I'm not getting that recognition if I don't do XYZ. But sometimes it just starts with, like you said, differentiating that this is what I do, but this is not who I am, right? So who I am and who I'm being. So focus on that the rest just kind of falls into place,
That's
right?
right.
It all starts within, and I love that. I mean, that's a great advice to leaders because leadership is evolving, and, people are confused, but there are some transformative leaderships that are in place now. So that's awesome. And before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share about your journey or leadership philosophy or anything else?
Uh, I think I would just leave the viewers with, be true to what your inner voice is saying.
Mhm.
Because if not 110%, 99.9% it's right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
trust it,
Yeah.
trust it. It sometimes is soft because we don't want to listen to it and we shun it. But the more you practice listening to it, um, I can only say from my experience, it's never let me have any harm, never have
Mhm.
me ever any dirt. It's never led me to a path of zero bank balance. It's never led me a path to having unforeseen circumstances. I've had challenges.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've not had challenges. I've had challenges, but those challenges were just sped up by growth even further as I connect the dots when I look back.
Right.
So you might have challenges, but it's just been a superb journey. So the more you learn how to listen to your inner voice versus all the noise outside, it's
Mhm.
going to serve you extremely well. That's all
Right.
I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. That's such a great advice. And likewise, I think I had struggled with just listening to my mind, and I had to struggle even more. It was really hard. And now I'm listening to my inner, like I've always stayed true to myself, but when it comes to career, it's always like the head versus heart. And when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I listened to my heart, and I can't be happier, And like you said, there are always going to be challenges in life, that's part of the journey, but it's not going to be like as difficult, like, uphill battle. It's all a growth. It's making you into a better version,
That's
right?
right.
And you attract, right? So I know a lot of executives are chasing after something, like let it come to you, let it attract, and you don't have to like worry about time or like, a lot of people are overwhelmed and burnt out. And that's the reason because we're always in our head. But when you want to make things easy in your life and feel fulfilled and thrive, just, let's listen to your inner voice and always be true to yourself.
Mhm.
So I love that. And I think that's a philosophy we both have in common. So that's why,
That's right.
yeah. Awesome. This was great. I love this conversation and you're such an inspiration. So thank you so much for sharing your story, wisdom, experiences with us. And I hope that our audience will find so much value in your journey. So, wishing you continued success and keep me posted. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Spotlight Success Story. So, stay inspired, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.